Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2023 Kia Telluride, we're going to be showing you how to install the Curt custom fit vehicle wiring harness. Before we do that though, let's take a minute, check it out, and make sure it's going to work for you. So with these Kias, really popular and capable SUVs, and people use them to do a little bit of everything, which does include pulling trailers around. And so if that's what you plan on doing, you're going to need a way to power up the lights on your trailer. That way you're not only safe, but it's a legal requirement as well. So that's exactly where this kit is going to come into play. It's going to give us that 4-way flat trailer connector there, which is really common on smaller and medium-sized trailers. And if the connector on your trailer looks something like this, that'll allow you to plug right in and send the signals to the lights on your trailer. So you're going to receive your brake lights, your tail lights, as well as your turn signals. You definitely want to make sure and use our fit guide to make sure that you're going to get the right wiring kit for your Telluride. And I say that because this kit is designed to work with the EX and SX submodel. So if you happen to have a different submodel, there's another kit available that will allow you to plug those in and get the trailer wiring working. As far as mounting the connector up, you have a couple of different options and they'll both work just fine. You could set it up like we have here today, where just wiring comes out along our hitch, and I just use a dust cover to secure it around the safety chain opening. And what I did is just take a little bit of wire loom, put it over there just to help it blend in a little bit. But if you're looking for more of a fixed type mount, you can always pick up what's called a no-drill long bracket and then a 4-way flat bracket. The long bracket would attach to your trailer hitch and come out, and then you could mount this up somewhere in this area. So whatever you decide to go with, it's entirely up to you. Something I do want to touch base on real quick, because from my experience here, we do see this a lot, and that is a lot of people wanting to set up a trailer brake controller on their Telluride. And if that's what you're trying to do, this is going to be kind of the first piece to the puzzle, if you will, to allow you to get that done. So if that's what you're trying to accomplish, you can use this kit and then pick up the etrailer.com universal brake controller install kit, and then your favorite brake controller. If you were to ask me, I like the Red Arc, either the Tow Pro Liberty or even the Elite. I've done a ton of them on the Telluride, and they work out really well, looks clean, and can't really go wrong. So just wanted to throw that out there because a lot of people wonder about it, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's nice that this is a custom fit kit available for the Telluride. It's not going to require you to splice into your factory wiring or nothing like that. The connectors plug right into the back of the taillights. Granted, you do have to run a wire from the back up into the engine compartment to the battery to supply it power. So that's probably the most time-consuming part. But stay focused, follow along. Hopefully we can speed things up a little bit for you and help you get it done. So why don't we go ahead and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're going to be here at the back of our Telluride, and we're going to need to get our tail lights removed. So if you open up your hatch, you can then get access to a plastic panel here that's covering up some of our fasteners. To get the panel off, there will be a small little indentation in this panel, and you can just take your tool, just carefully kind of pry behind it. And this is releasing the clips that's holding this in place. We'll pop that out, set it off to the side, and now we can get to the fasteners. So there's a total of 3 of them. You can use a 10mm socket like I am, or a Phillips head screwdriver will work too. Get all these pulled out. Should be able to pop our taillight out now, and a lot of times you can just work it side to side a little bit and pull straight back, but other times it'll be kind of stuck in there. And so if that happens, I like to take a trim tool like this. I just put some painter's tape here so you don't scratch anything up. But you can just use that to get a little extra leverage to work that taillight out. And these little tabs, that's what was holding this thing in. But we'll get the electrical disconnected now. So there's just a small tab there in the center. You push down on that, separate the two. I'll set our light off to the side and do the same exact thing to get the passenger one removed. What we're able to do now on both sides of our vehicle is take a fish wire, we'll drop it down through the taillight pocket. That way we can get to it from the bottom side of the car. And the whole reason for this is to allow us to hook up our electrical wiring to this and pull it up into place. I'm using a piece of nylon air tubing. You know, for those of you at home, you can always take a metal coat hanger, straighten it out, use a thick piece of wire, whatever you got laying around will probably work. But that said, I'll go ahead and drop this down. Just over here on the driver's side, we have this underbody panel, and our pull wire should be behind it. So we're going to remove this. It's going to make it a lot easier to work anyway, give us more room. So to get it off, you got 3 push pin fasteners, just like this. Take a flathead screwdriver, pry underneath the head. You can pull the whole thing out. And then kind of up here in this little pocket, there's 2 plastic nuts. And these are actually going to stay connected to the panel, but you need to release them from the metal stud that's dropping down. So I have an extension and a 14mm socket, and I just unthread these by hand. Don't really need a ratchet or a power tool. I'll loosen them up, and then sometimes you might have to kind of apply some pressure to the panel while you're unscrewing it to get it to release. Once I pulled that panel out of the way, I was able to reach up and grab our pull wire there. And what I've done is took our new trailer wiring and the T connectors that have the yellow and brown wires going to it. I simply just taped that end to our pull wire. Now we can go up top and get it pulled into position. We're able to fish our wiring up through the opening here. And it is tight, so expect that. And once we have it up, go ahead and get all of our tape pulled off here, and we'll get these plugged in. We can grab our T connector now, and one end of it's going to match up with the connector on our taillight. We'll plug that right on in. The other end will plug right into our factory wiring there, just like that. And then we can simply just reinstall our taillight the opposite way that we removed it. Back underneath the vehicle, I started to route our 4-way flat wiring as well as the single green T connector wire. It's going to go over towards the passenger side. And I just have everything loosely routed right now. Once it's all hooked up, we can come back and zip tie it and everything, clean it up. And whenever you're routing wiring, you want to do your best to avoid any hot or moving parts and any sharp edges, stuff like that. But this just runs over through here. Our 4-way flat wiring, I just dropped down and attached it to the safety chain openings on our hitch there, using the dust cover. The green wire is going to continue along, coming through here and up through there. So what I had done, I taped it to the pull wire just like we did the driver's side and pulled it up into position. Back up top on the passenger side, our T connector came up, plugged it in, factory wiring, and then we'll go into the taillight just like we did on the driver's side and get it What I've done now is secured our module box, and I just took a few zip ties and secured it to this existing factory wiring. You know, you're tempted to try to put it up on the side panel and everything, but it just doesn't fit that great. So that's why I decided to do this. Not going to go anywhere. And you're going to have a white wire coming out of that box that has a pre-attached ring terminal. That's going to be a ground. So I'm going to secure that up here to this piece of metal. And I'm going to do that using the included self-tapping screw. There's going to be a black wire coming out of that box, and the end will be pre-stripped already. And we're going to connect this to the big bundle of power wire that comes with the kit. So to make that happen, we're going to use a butt connector. So this is how we're going to make all of our electrical connections, whether it be a butt connector or a ring terminal. What you do is you strip the insulation back a little bit, like that. Give that wire a good twist, and take the butt connector, place it over the bare end of the wire. And I've chose to upgrade my butt connectors here to the heat shrink style, because the ends will seal up and just help against corrosion a little bit better, but the ones that come with the kit will work just fine. My advice is just tape them up real good once you have the connections made. So we're connected there on that bundle power wire. We'll take the other end, place it over this one, crimp it down, and then since I'm using these heat shrinks, come back with my heat gun and seal up the ends. So I went ahead and used some electrical tape over our butt connector just for good measure. It's not going to hurt anything. And what I'm going to do now is take this big bundle of power wire. It's going to have to get routed to the front of our vehicle into the engine compartment. That way we can hook it up to the battery. So I'll go ahead and do that now and then show you the path that I took to get it there. I got the power wire routed, and here's how I did it. This comes up along through here, using zip ties every now and again to secure it. Comes up and on top of our subframe. Just runs over it. And then you can kind of see the wire there, just running along through here. And then this panel, if you want to lower it, it definitely helps. There's just a handful of 10mm head bolts you can unscrew. And that wire is just going to follow these factory lines all the way up. Continuing along here. Where it then goes up into the engine compartment. It's pretty open there. A lot of times you can just work that wire up into place. If you're having a hard time doing that, you can always go from the top down using a pull wire, just like how we did when we got our connectors into the taillight pockets. In the engine compartment, this is where our wiring came up. And I just followed this factory wire here. And then I was able to cut this to length and add on the included fuse holder. So just a butt connector there, ring terminal on the other end. Make sure that the fuse is not installed just yet. We're going to do that in a minute. And just to make everything a little bit easier to see, I'm going to pull this piece out, this little air intake, a couple of push pin fasteners that you release. You don't absolutely have to do this, but let's make it a little more easier. But that just pulls right out. We can open up our positive battery cover there. And we're going to have this nut that we can remove. And a 10mm size socket. Remove it. Take our ring terminal, put it over the post. And just tighten it back down. From here, we can take the included fuse, place that into the holder, close it up, and then reinstall this intake here. It is a good idea to test the wiring to make sure that it's working properly. I like to use a small tester as opposed to just hooking up to a trailer. And I say it because if your trailer happens to have any issues, it might mislead you and thinking it's something you did wrong on the vehicle side. But with that in mind, we'll try our left turn signal, our right turn signal. We'll hit our brakes and turn on our running lights. Now that we verified our wiring is working properly, we're in good shape. But with that done, that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Curt custom fit vehicle wiring harness on our 2023 Kia Telluride.